Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we have an all new round of speed reviews. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. We tried out a ton of products in the month of October, which I was anticipating with all of the holiday releases coming. So we have a lot to talk about. There are some items that I tried out in the month of October that I might not mention today, but I will mention at the end of November, and that is just because I need more time to play with them and try them out a little bit more before I give my final opinion. But let's just jump right into it. The first product is actually a mascara that I've really been loving, and this is from City Beauty. So they actually sent me a really amazing package recently. There was a ton of skincare, but there was also their Beyond mascara, and there was a bunch of lip products. I'm gonna let you know my thoughts on their lip products at the end of next month because I'm still working on testing those out. But the mascara though is amazing. So this is their Beyond Mascara Volumizing Treatment. This one is so nice. So the packaging, I love the blue and gold, and this is that soft touch matte. The wand is definitely a very large, kind of a hourglass shape that we know I love. So this is very volumizing. This one isn't the most lengthening, but it will definitely give your lashes lots of volume, make them look very thick. It also doesn't flake throughout the day or smudge, and that is something that I have a lot of issues with some mascaras. Flaking in particular is an issue for me, but this one really doesn't do that, so I do love this one, and I do think this brand deserves a little bit more attention. From Natasha Denona, she released her My Dream collection. So we had the My Dream palette, and this is one that I am really enjoying. This is definitely my type of color story. I really have been loving this one. In particular, the shade Spontaneous. There's something special about it. I just really love that shade. Browns are so easy to work with. Everything about this one is just so beautiful. Her formula is wonderful. As we know, Blackest Black is a really great eyeliner black. I don't use a ton of black shadow, but when I do use it to just give myself a bit of a liner moment, and it's really great for that. These browns, so beautiful, so easy to work with, so blendable, and I just love pretty much all of the looks with this palette, so I have been enjoying it a lot. And she also came out with a lipstick. This shade was pre-existing, but it's now in the My Dream packaging, and she's also changed the formula, so this is supposed to be a completely clean vegan formula, and I actually love this lipstick so much. This is in the shade Natasha, and this is the most flattering pinky nude on my skin tone. I absolutely love it. So this is, I think I like this one even more than I like the palette, so that is saying something. I love the lipstick. And Patrick Ta also released his face palette this month as well. I did review it and I love it, with some caveats. So last year's palette, he had 3 different blushes. This year we have 2 blushes and a highlight. I really liked this really pinky duo in Giving Flirty. I thought it was so pretty, that perfect baby doll pink. Giving Sunkissed is the most beautiful blush shade. I love Giving Sunkissed so much. It's so flattering. This highlight, I like. The powder, that is. I do not like the clear balm that it comes with. I will never use that balm. So this is a bit of a shinier highlight. I don't think it's overly glittery. I've heard some people say that it is. I personally don't see that. If it is, it's a very microfine glitter. But this balm definitely has some glitter in it, and it is the worst thing to use. I really hate this balm. It does absolutely nothing. I think it might work best on a no makeup day, but over powder, it just lifts the product. Putting over the other creams, it just really doesn't show up or do anything in general. So the balm is definitely a miss for me. I will say I do think he uses a different formula in this palette than in his other duos, because these powders are so powdery. There is so much kick up, which I was not expecting when I first used this. So it is a different formula. However, they are super beautiful and super pigmented, so I do love them. The only thing that holds me back from really recommending this palette is that balm, because this is a very expensive palette, and because this is so terrible, you're really paying for 5 products. So I recently did upload my Sephora recommendations video and this was not in it, simply for that reason. So unfortunately there's that, but I overall like this palette. I'm going to get a ton of use out of these blushes in particular. From ABH, we tried out their new Rose Metals palette as well. So I still really love the outer packaging. I think it's so pretty. The color story on the inside is definitely a little more grungy than I would typically go for personally, but I do think it's really, really pretty. I think it plays really well with their Nouveau palette. The formula is excellent. There is absolutely no qualms about their formula. It's really wonderful. I think these shades are beautiful. I think they also look really nice. I think I do need to play with it quite a bit more to really, really figure out what looks work for me, because I do love this formula. So I do think this is a great palette as well. I do prefer Nouveau, but I do think this one is great. So Pat McGrath released the Celestial Nirvana palette. So this is her giant palette for holiday, and I think this one is super beautiful. Definitely more color than I'm used to playing with. I am still working on multiple looks with this palette, but it is coming. Just, I need a little more time. It's very colorful, but I do think it's very, very beautiful, and I definitely do see some elements of holiday, but I definitely think this is going to be a palette that we can definitely get a ton of use of year round, particularly with the bright pink and the purples. I think this is going to be a great palette all year round, and I think the formula in here is so good. But she also released 2 quints with this collection as well, and they're better. So if the mattes in the large palette were good, somehow the mattes that she put in these little guys is even better. The formula in these is next level. So we have Bronze Bliss and Nude Allure. I do have a video on these as well. I think I have a video using all of these products. So this one is Bronze Bliss. My only critique with these quints is that there's only 1 matte in each one, which I don't love. That being said, this formula is so incredible. So I think these bronze shades are beautiful. This little lighter highlight shade here is really pretty. The black was actually incredibly easy to work with. I am not somebody who uses black shadow unless it's for an eyeliner, but I was able to pop this one on the outer V and just really blend it out, and it looked so good. It was so easy to do and easy to work with. But what really sold me on this one was that center shade in Lunar Luxury. This is such a metallic, sparkly silver shade. It is, I've got to touch it. It feels wet to the touch. And look how beautiful and opaque and shiny that is. I am still blown away by it, and I'm still surprised every time I touch it and it almost feels wet. It's incredible. Like, this is what I will be wearing on New Year's. 1000%. I love this one. She did such a good job with this one, particularly with that center shade. It's absolutely stunning. I still would have liked to see more of a lighter shade to use as a transition. Maybe even, like, I'm thinking even like a taupe, kind of a gray would have been nice, because, and of course I'm thinking like a cool tone taupe, because that would have played really well with these and with this. So I definitely think that would have been nice to have in here as well, but I do think this is an absolutely stunning palette. And Nude Allure is the one I was expecting to like more, and I think it's gorgeous, but it's not Bronze Bliss. I will say the matte in here is the best matte I have ever used. It's a very creamy matte. It blends out so beautifully. I love working with that matte shadow so much. I do think the highlight shade in this palette is better, and I think this is pretty. It's just not spectacular, especially compared to metallic in Bronze Bliss. However, this matte is absolutely amazing. So I do think these are both really great, and I would 100% recommend them, and I would recommend them over the large palette as well. All right, Charlotte Tilbury also released the Pillow Talk Beautifying Face Palette, and I feel like I've talked about this one enough for everyone to know what I'm going to say. I love this one so much. So with this one comes 2 blushes, 2 highlights. This one's a little bit more of a blush topper for me just because it's so pink. This one is definitely a brighter pink, but also very, very wearable. This is a perfect highlight shade for my skin tone, and this is my favorite blush. This is such a great everyday blush for me. It's like a pinky mauve, just a perfect, perfect blush tone for my skin. I'm not wearing it today, but I've worn it pretty much every other day. I'm already losing my Pillow Talk embossment. That's how much I've been reaching into this. I love this palette so much. This is one that was so anticipated and absolutely worth the wait. I've been loving this one. And Charlotte Tilbury also released some single shadows as part of her holiday collection. I'm still hoping she's going to come out with one of her 12 pan palettes, but she did release some single shadows. I think there might be 7 or 8 shades. There's a mix of everyday shades and some pops of color. The packaging is completely unmatched on these. These are just beautiful gold with little gems. So stunning. I picked up the shade Emerald Eyes and Rose Gold. Rose Gold is really, really beautiful. It's a very creamy, not overly sparkly, but a very creamy shimmer shade. It looks very, very beautiful all over the lid. It's a perfect everyday shadow. It's very flattering to the eyes. It's very, very beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. I also picked up Emerald Eyes, and in my review of these I absolutely raved about Emerald Eyes. I also have a YouTube short raving about it. I have an Instagram reel raving about this. I love this one so much. This is the prettiest green shadow I have seen in my entire life, and this one is also far more sparkly than Rose Gold. And here's the thing, these are very expensive. I think these retail for around the $35 mark US. They're 41 Canadian. That's incredibly expensive for a single shadow. And I have to review them separately. So Rose Gold, while absolutely gorgeous, I don't think you need it. I think you could get the same thing in a ColourPop Super Shock single for literally a fraction of the cost, like a fifth of the cost. So while I love this and think it's gorgeous and I'm definitely going to use it a ton, I do not recommend spending your money on this. I do, however, recommend Emerald Eyes because this one actually does offer something special. Whereas Rose Gold, though pretty, it doesn't bring anything special to my collection, and I highly doubt it's going to bring something special to yours, especially when I know we could dupe it with a ColourPop Super Shock. This though is just so beautiful. In my opinion, this green shimmer is absolutely unmatched. I love it. The sparkle is absolutely stunning. We have to see a swatch. There is something special about this one. The sparkle, the tone, everything about it is just so spectacular. So I do think if you're going to pick one of these up, even just for this gorgeous, gorgeous packaging, I would highly recommend going with Emerald Eyes, or she did come out with a blue one as well, if that's your thing. Try that one. There is more of a cranberry color as well, but I think Emerald Eyes it's it. And the final product is from Huda Beauty, and this is the Love Fest palette. So this one is not a holiday release, but it was released not too long ago. And I did wait on this one because I don't trust her with her 9-pan formula. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes not so much. This one was really, really good. They're not special, but the purples are actually really, really beautiful. The formula is actually wonderful. The mattes work so well together. I like the range of mattes that she put in here, and I've really been enjoying this one. I think she did a great job with this palette, so absolute yes to the Love Fest palette. I actually forgot, I also tried out from Tarte. I have the Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump in the shade White Peach. Absolutely love it. I love how shiny this is on my lips. This is a very nudie shade for me, but it's perfect. I love it. The only thing I am skeptical about is I've heard so many people complaining about their applicator breaking, and I'm so nervous that's going to happen to me. If it does, I will absolutely let you know, but for now I like this, and I like it better than the Makeup by Mario Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum. So just so you know. And that is it. Those are all the products I tried out in the month of October. It was a very busy month. I have tried out more, like I mentioned, but I need a little bit more time with them before I can give you my final opinion. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!